Continuing with the Viking Portable Library. World Bible, edited by Robert O. Ballou. The Hindu. Selections from the Hindu scriptures. We move on to from the Markandeya Purana. Sumati instructs his father. Remember how Abraham instructed his father or his uncle? I thought, it's youth. Youth can't. No, it's not about older or younger. But anyways, a certain high-minded Brahmana, born in the race of Bhrigu, said to his gentle son, Sumati, resembling one void of sense at the time of his investiture with the sacred thread, study the Vedas, O Sumati, in due order, being intent upon serving your preceptor and depending upon alms. Then entering the life of a householder, do you celebrate excellent sacrifices and beget desirable offspring, and then enter into woods, when you shall live in the forest, O child, and leaving the company of your wife, lead the life of a mendicant, you will attain to that Brahman, approaching whom no one grieves, being thus urged on by his father out of parental affection. With nectarine words, he smilingly said, O father, all that you advise me to study has been exhaustively read by me together with various other branches of learning and diverse mechanical arts. 10,000 births more come to my recollection. I was born as a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, and a Vaishya, and a Sudra, and again as a beast, a worm, a deer, and a bird. I was born in the houses of the royal entertainers and warlike kings. As I have been born in your house, I became servants and slaves of many men, and I cannot by mastery, lordship, and poverty. Thus, revolving on the perilous wheel of the world, I have attained to this knowledge, O Father, which is instrumental to the attainment of liberation. Hear, O Father, a true account of what I have experienced again and again. The wheel of a world is decaying, still it has no existence. He who has never uttered a falsehood, he who has not made a distinction of love, he who believes in God and who is reverential, meets with happy death. Those who are intent upon adoring the deities and the Brahmanas, who are free from spite, who are pure in spirit, are liberal and bashful, meet with easy death. So there's something to be said about not being an atheist, even if some problems exist in your path. He who does not forsake virtue through lust, anger, or spite, he who keeps his promise and is gentle, meets with easy death. But he who does not give water to one who is thirsty, food to one who is hungry, is assailed by them when death presents itself. Those who give fuel conquer cold. Those who give sandal conquer heat. But those who afflict people come by a dreadful pain, destroying the very life. The worst of men who cause ignorance and stupefaction attain great fear and are crushed by fierce pangs. Those that give false evidence or speak falsely or satisfy the orders of a wicked man, or disregard the Vedas, die in ignorance. The sciential literature, the true sciential literature, by the way. The dreadful and vicious-souled followers of Yama, breathing hellish smell around, with nooses and maces in hands, approach them, and when they come within the range of their vision, they all tremble, and continually wail for their brothers, mothers, and sons. Then their speech becomes distinct, O Father, and is composed of one letter. Their eyes roll and their faces are dried up with fear and sighs. Then with breath running high, sight dimmed, and assailed by pain, such a one renounces his body, then going before the body, for undergoing affliction, consequent upon his acts, he assumes another body, not sprung from a father or a mother, but what has the same age, condition, and habitation as assigned to the other body. Then the emissaries of Yama quickly bind him with dreadful nooses and drag him to the south, trembling with stroke of the rod. Then he is dragged by the emissaries of Yama, sending out dreadful, inauspicious yells through grounds rough with kusa. That's a type of grass, isn't it? Thorns, anthills, pins, and stones, glowing with flames at places covered with pits, blazing with the heat of the sun and burning with its rays, dragged by the dreadful emissaries and eaten by hundreds of jackals. The sinful person goes to Yama's house through a fearful passage. But those who have distributed umbrellas and shoes, those who have given away cloth, as well as those who have given away food, goes easily by that way. And mostly in history you hear of umbrellas being used to provide shade. I've seen Hindu women in America, yay close even, carrying around umbrellas. Cloth as well as those who have given away food go easily by that way. Going through such sufferings, losing all control over self and assailed by sin, a man is taken on the 12th day to the city of Dharma. When his body is burnt, he experiences a great burning sensation, and when his body is beaten or cut, he feels a great pain. Remember the Amdawat, the 12 sections of the afterlife or the other world in the ancient Egyptian. His body being thus destroyed, a creature, although walking into another body, suffers eternal misery on account of his own adverse actions. A man repeatedly goes through a cycle of births and deaths. In this way he rolls like a clock on the wheel of the world. Sometimes a man attains heaven, sometimes he goes to hell, and sometimes a dead man reaps both heaven and hell, and sometimes born again in this earth he reaps the fruits of his own acts, and sometimes enjoying the fruits of his own acts, within a short time he breathes his last. Sometimes, O best of Brahmanas, living in heaven or hell for a short time, on account of his limited merit or demerit, he is born in this earth. O Father, the dwellers of heaven are seen by them to enjoy happiness, and then those brought down to perdition think that there is a great misery in hell. Even in heaven there is incomparable misery, for from the time of ascension everyone conceives in his mind, I shall fall. Beholding the people of hell, they attain to mighty misery, thinking day and night, I shall be brought to this condition. Mighty is the pain of living in the womb, of being born from a female, of the infancy of one when being born, and that of decrepitude as well. There is also great misery in youth, influenced by lust, malice, and anger. Old age is also full of miseries, and the culmination of this is death. Mighty is the pain of those who are carried away by force, by the emissaries of Yama, and thrown into hell. Then again is birth in the womb, and death, and hell. Okay, I have a little more to share. But remember these three stages of development: the mother stage, the father stage, and the child stage. The child stage is, I guess, 15, or when puberty happens for a male, or is 13, or when puberty happens for a female. And this is not an age to rebel. It is an age you have independent morality. So you pick the knowledge and the sense of goodness from your culture or your upbringing that works. But you not only develop it, but you don't have to be an exact copy of what was before. The creation of castes. From the mouth of Brahma, meditating on truth and entering upon the functions of creation, were produced 1,000 pairs. They, thus born, were all moved by the quality of sattva and were joined to the right understanding. Another 1,000 pairs he created from his breast. They all were moved by the quality of rajas and were full of strength and invincible. Another 1,000 petals he created again from his thigh. They were moved by the two qualities of rajas and tamas, and were full of energy and enterprise. From his 2 feet he created another 1,000 pairs. They were all moved by the quality of tamas, and were without beauty, and of little understanding. And this way, after the establishment of the means of subsistence for them, the Lord himself established honor and precedence among them according to their respective rights and qualifications. And remember, when we do our work, not only may God accept based on our ability and attention to, but may establish a grace, a greater reward, an ease that develops over time. Is it hard to live a dutiful life? Not as hard as not living a dutiful life.